Hey, what's up guys? Sloth King here. Today I'm going to be working on the 2006 Lexus RX330 and we are going to be replacing the spark plugs. Now, this car, it's not easy to replace the rear spark plugs. It's actually a pain in the butt. So we need to remove the upper intake manifold to get to them. And the manual says to remove the wiper cowl, but I know we don't need to do that. It's a little tricky, but if you follow this guide, I'm certain that you can get this done. So this process will work, same thing on the RX300, 330, and the 350. It'll all be like the similar process. Anything with the 3.3 V6 that comes in these engines. So the manual calls for like, I think it was like 3 hours, like a shop time hour or something like that. Or maybe it was 2 hours. I don't know, I forget. But anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this. Alrighty guys, so first thing you need to do, go ahead and remove your engine cover. There are three like makeshift like nuts. Let me see if I can show you. They look like these. They are just small Allen bolts or nuts. Technically it's a nut because it screws on to this stud right here. So you remove those three and then just pop it up. There's two clips under here that clip onto here. So don't be afraid to just pull it up. We got to go ahead and remove this air box over here, or at least the top portion of it. There's all these vacuum lines that connect to it. And we just need to go ahead and pop these off. You can also take a picture, make sure you keep track of where all these lines are going. We're going to go ahead and disconnect the mass airflow sensor right here. Loosen this clamp. And then there's one 10mm bolt right here, and then another one on that back side. And then once that is loose, we're going to separate this guy right here if it wants to come off. If not, you might have to put some force on it. I'm just going to make this easy and loosen this one. All right, that's off. Keep your air filter with it. Now this guy, we're going to loosen up this hose right here. I mean, this clamp for the hose right here. There we go. And then, just to make life easier, remove this clamp right here. And then we can go ahead and try to tilt this guy out. But it looks like the air box is in the way. But I think if we just get this out of the way, we will be totally fine. Because the throttle body, I'm going to try to keep the throttle body attached and just pull it out. According to the manual, we need to remove all of these hoses. So there's two water bypass hoses. There's a vapor feed hose, which is this one. There is Underneath it, there is a throttle body motor connector clamp, which is this guy right here. So we need to undo this nut down here. Looks like it is a 10 millimeter. And then we can unclip the actual connector on the throttle body. Connector is disconnected. And then if you look under here, there's a vacuum hose that goes to the brake booster. We can undo that. There we go. Wiggle the hose until it pops off. There we go. So you got the hose off. And then I'm going to pop this hose off right here just to get this out of the way. There we go. These don't need to come off. This whole thing can actually get unbolted. There is a nut right here, and then it looks like there's just one nut right here as well. I think that's a 10 millimeter. Let's check it out. Yep, two 10 millimeters. Let's see if I can just pop this off real quick. All right. And then this one, it shouldn't be in the way. There we go. Now this should just come right up. Now there is a wire or a connector right here, and this vacuum line can pop off. Boom. And actually I do need to pull this vacuum line right off. All right. And yep, this one needs to come off too. I lied. You do need to take it off. Oh, the little guy's stuck. There we go. This is up and out of the way. Gives us plenty of access for all of this. Now, since this upper intake does have to come off, there's just one clip that we can separate right here. There's a tab on it. You just lift it up and it will just pop right out. That is a ground right here. So now we can go ahead and remove this mount right here. Actually, no, we don't need to remove that mount because, actually, yes we do. This is a fuel rail right here. So what this looks like when we undo these, it should be 5 millimeter hex bolts. When we undo these right here, 1, 2, 3, and then this nut, we should be able to just move this this metal piece out of the way, and then we can clear this this fuel hose right here. So let me go ahead and take this off. That way it can clear up and out. Take this out, keep track of it. I'm going to do this, that way I do not lose it. So back here, let me try to get a better shot, but there is a bracket on the back of this guy that we need to remove a bolt and Let me try to see what the best course of action to get back there. The last vacuum line, just to point this out, there's a PCV valve right here, and we need to go ahead and remove that. You see that right there? Easiest way to do it is just take it off from right there. All right, so this is a very terrible shot to try to get, but the bracket where the bolt is, I have you right on top of the throttle body, and you're looking right back towards the firewall. Here's the middle of the intake manifold, and then if we go all the way towards the edge and then put our hand back, we'll feel like kind of a hook, and that's part of the metal bar, the bracket, the mounting bracket. And if we reach our hand all the way around the back, we can feel a 14 millimeter bolt. And the easiest way to get to it is if you have a swivel ratcheting wrench. We can just go all the way back here, take our time, find where the bolt is, and then, oh, that's actually not very tight. We can go ahead and loosen this whole thing. You can probably get it with a very short stubby wrench, but the ratcheting works together so well. So that way you can just try to get it at the weird angle and put it on there. It is such a pain. And I think I can get it by hand now, possibly. Now I might drop this, this bolt. This is why they want you to remove the windshield cowl, but we're not gonna do that. All right, almost got the bolt. Time to move on to the next spot. Yep, I got it. Ooh, almost dropped it. All right, here it is. That was a pain. All right, so now I made sure that I can remove this. We can go ahead and remove that the intake manifold bolts. So let's go ahead and start doing that. All right, so now we can go ahead and just remove that PCV valve hose back here. It's hard to show on camera, but you can actually see it pretty well in person. Huh. All right, you pain in the butt. Actually, I have a small pry bar on me, and I'm pretty sure I can just sit here and pry it up and over. Yep. All right, if you guys can see it, it's starting to come up, which is good. There we go, it's almost off. Now I can get my hand on it, and boom, just popped it off. There we go. And I totally forgot I actually had the PCV valve and the hose on me to replace that. How did I forget that? God dang it. That's gonna be a pain to replace. Would have been so much easier to replace it while I have the manifold off, but oh well. All right, and I also forgot my my hex keys, but I have a T50 on me, a Torx 50, and it actually fits in there pretty well. So I'm going to make this do. I highly recommend bringing your actual hex sockets with you. I can't believe I forgot that. I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I can loosen these before I remove these two coolant hoses. All right, that one's loose. That one is too. Yeah. Okay. Now it's coming along. And I believe this should be a 14. Yep, that is a 14 millimeter. All right. Now I know that these are all loosened. I can go ahead and, how do I want to do this? Do I want to remove this one first and then remove that one? I'm thinking about plugging it with a couple of these sockets and a bolt just so it doesn't leak everywhere. I'm going to go ahead and take off that top one first. All right, so let's go ahead and spin this, make sure we can break it free. All right, there's a little bit of coolant that will come out. So let's go ahead and brace ourselves. All right, face this up. Put that in there like that just to stop any coolant from coming out. Then grab this. All right. So now there shouldn't be much coolant that will come out of here. Actually did not spill much. That's maybe an ounce at the most. I'll keep that there just so it doesn't spill everywhere. Now this guy we can literally just tuck right over here. And then we're gonna do the same thing with this one. So I'll have a bolt ready. We'll do this. Move that guy down. And then we should be able to just push on this guy. This is a terrible angle. I wish I had my hose pliers on me. Oh, I think it's coming. Oh, yeah, there we go. Jeez. All right, now put your bolt in there. And then bring the clamp up. All right, there we go. Whew. Okay, so now we just need to go ahead and take off these bolts right here and these two nuts, and then we should be able to slide this metal plate up and then get this out of the way so I can clear this fuel line, and then we can pull this whole thing out. Whoops, sorry about that. The camera overheated. All right, take that out and then get this one over here. Now I tried prying up on this, but it was not going to come out. Sorry, middle sentence thought. So this metal bracket right here, we have to take off all of the bolts and the 2 nuts in order to remove it. All right, as you can see, the intake started tilting backwards. So let me go ahead and lift this up, get that out of the way. And now I totally forgot to mention, but if you have compressed air, go ahead and blow this whole section out, because when we try to move all of this stuff, we don't want any debris going inside of the intake. So I don't have an air compressor over here, so I'm just going to have to wipe it off as best as I can. I can run inside to see if I have any compressed air on hand, but it is very slim. So I'm just going to go ahead and wipe off this whole area. Try to wipe off the backside just a little bit. Maybe there's like some dirt back there. We do not want to get it inside of the intake at all. So take your time when you're wiping all this stuff off, okay? So I'm going to go see if there's any compressed air around. I'll be right back. All right, so I do have this blowgun. All right, so now we should be good to go to pull this whole thing out. Huh, feels like it is stuck on something. There shouldn't be another bracket. It should just come right out. Let me take a peek and see what might be holding this up. All right, well, clearly you can tell something went up. So there is a bracket right past this part of the throttle body, and it's a 12mm bolt. I tried fitting my ratchet back there. I tried fitting my ratcheting wrench back there. For some reason, it is on so tight, I could not break it loose. So I needed to go ahead and remove this, and I thought I could just pop it out. And I was like, oh, maybe I can just remove the 3 bolts that are holding this down and take this whole piece out, and it'll pop right out. No, I had to take off this piece of plastic, which is right there. It's a few pop clips. I had to remove these 10mm bolts, just to get this to move enough so I can pry this up and out of the way. Now, I can see if I can fit my ratchet back here, my 3/8 ratchet, try to get a little bit more leverage on that bolt to see if I can pop it loose. So let's go ahead and see if I can get the leverage on here that I need. Let's see, where was it at? Ah, here we go. Wow, that is on so tight. Oh, there we go. Jeez, that is annoying. Wow, that was very unnecessary. And it made me rip my glove. Cool. So now I can get my ratcheting wrench back there and have a bit more room to take out that whole bolt. And I must say, I've been using these wrenches. This company, Suzume, they reached out to see if I wanted to review them, try them out. So I've been putting them through the ringer, and so far I really like them. They are a very low profile, which I love. The ratcheting mechanism is nice and tight. They actually have it's a flex head at the end, on the box end side. So it lets you get into tight spaces pretty easily. They look pretty cool. So far, I dig them, and you definitely need them whenever you're working on stuff like this. They this is not like a paid sponsorship or anything like that. They said I can review them, say whatever I want about them, see if I like them, what I dislike about them. So far, I like them a lot. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue taking this out, and and here is that bolt. Pain in the butt. All right, so there is one more bracket right back here, right behind the throttle body. All right, guys, so for the past like 30 minutes, I've been battling one bolt on the back of the intake manifold right next to the throttle body. So the repair manual that I have, it listed nothing about that bracket back there. So I'll have to take a picture, but it was literally located, if you follow right where the throttle body meets the intake, it's right in the back. I'll put a picture up where I had my ratcheting wrench, and it was on so tight that it was such a pain to try to loosen up. Now I see why they tell you to take the cowl off, so that way you can have plenty of room back there. But I finally just got that bolt off. Here it is right here. Now we can go ahead and remove the intake, and then we can change these spark plugs. So let's go ahead and do it. And since we're in a limited area to lift this up, I have a E-Torx bit. This is an E8. It's basically just an inverted Torx, and we're just going to remove this stud. All right, that one is loose. Now this one, there we go. Get these two loose, and then we'll be able to just pull this thing forward. All right, there's one, and then let's get this one. All right, that one is out. Now let's go ahead and get this bad boy out. Woo, there we go. Geez, that was a pain. Now let me show you what the brackets look like that we had to remove these bolts. Oh man. All right, so the brackets, you can probably see it right here. This one was for the throttle body. This one was right between the throttle body and the intake manifold. And then this back one right here, this is where it was attached to the other side of the intake manifold. That was such a pain. There's like no room to reach back there. And that's why they wanted you to take this whole thing off, but even that's a pain. So now we have full access to our spark plugs back here. So let's go ahead and take off the 3 coil packs and then remove our spark plugs. All right, so if we take a look back here, you will see the 3 coil packs, one right there, there, and there. So they're held on by your clip and your 10 millimeter bolt. Wow, literally cannot speak. So let's go ahead and loosen these bolts up real quick. All right. And then now the connector, just go ahead and push and squeeze. Oh wow, that broke off. That is not good. Well, looks like we're gonna be holding that down with the zip tie later. That really sucks. So be very careful whenever you're, oh wow, they're all gonna break. Oh no, that's not good. They're just old and crusty. Oh boy. All right, there we go. Now that they're all off, we can go ahead and just take out the the coil packs and spark plugs as usual. Once we do that, I will go over the spark plug gap that we need. Now at this point, like I said, this is literally just the part where it becomes a normal spark plug job. There we go, take that out. And then now we can get the spark plug out. Now get your 5/8 spark plug socket. All right, first spark plug is out. And that's how we're looking. Now I'm just going to do the one on camera and do the rest off camera and then put everything back together. Let's go ahead and see what our new spark plug gap has to be. And then let's go ahead and install it and torque it down. So the max gap is 0.051 inches. And the biggest one I have on me is 0.045. And it is pretty much just at that proper gap. So not too bad. Now, the new gap should be between 0.039 and 0.043 inches. So I'm going to see if 0.040 fits, and it does. Now let's see if 0.045 fits under. Nope. So I forgot my good spark plug gapper. This is like right at just a hair above 0.040. So we are good. Like it's making just a little bit of contact. So that means it is probably at 0.041 or 0.042. So gonna call that good. Now, this is a bit of a controversial thing. People will either agree or disagree to throw a little bit of copper anti-seize on here or any kind of anti-seize. I highly recommend it, and I'm going to do that today. So you just put a little bit on the threads where it kind of looks like this and just install it. We want just something that will coat the threads so that way it's easier to take out next time. And then whenever we're done screwing this in, you can either do one of two things. This has to get torqued down to 18 foot-pounds or 216 inch-pounds, or you can bring it to hand tight and turn it a quarter turn. If you bring it hand tight and then turn it a quarter turn, you're good to go. So let's go ahead and install this thing. All right, I got the copper anti-seize on there, and then let's go ahead and just get this thing snug and torqued down. There we go. Torque down. And last thing to do, whenever we're installing the coil pack, I like to put a little bit of dielectric grease just on the inside of the boot. This will keep a good contact on the electrode for the spark plug. All right, and whenever I'm going to install the intake manifold, I highly recommend getting a new gasket. That way we don't have any leaks. I'm going to finish up these rear spark plugs, and then whenever I'm putting this back together, I'll go over those torque specs with you guys. All right, let's go ahead and remove this old gasket. Keep track of how it came off. Let's match up our new gasket. Yeah, that looks about right. Go ahead and just fit it into place. All right, let's go ahead and install this. All right, let's go ahead and grab our 2 studs, line them up and put them in place. All right, so now we can go ahead and put this piece back on. Put this nut on both sides, just snug it down a little bit. And then we can start putting on our bolts. These bolts will get torqued down to 13 foot-pounds, and then the nuts will be torqued down to 12 foot-pounds. All right, now that they're all tight, let's go ahead and double check everything. All right, all done. All right, guys, so now that is all done. You just need to go ahead and put the 3 bolts on the back of the intake manifold, and then put your vacuum lines back on. Make sure you route this thing, put this back on here. And then when you're all done with that, all you have to do is do the front 3 spark plugs, and that will be easy peasy, enjoy your cake kind of time. I don't know why I said that. That's really weird. But anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw all these lines back on. And yeah, this was a pain in the butt. So I will update you guys whenever I'm all done, and I will tell you how long this job took me. So I'll be back. Oh man. All right, guys. As you can see, everything is all back together. That took so long to do. I started at around 2:30, 2:45, and it is 7:30 p.m. right now. So that took just about 5 hours to do. And that's that's so unnecessary for a simple spark plug job. So yeah, now I'm gonna go ahead and start it up and make sure everything works. All right, here goes nothing. Oh yeah. Oh, she's running great. Sweet. Well, that's good to know. So now I can put all of my tools away. All right, guys, there you go. That's how you go ahead and replace your rear spark plugs on your 2006 RX330. And it works for the 300, 350 as well. So the manual that I had, it did not say anything about the rear brackets, except for just the one that was right over here. But it didn't say anything about the others, which is lovely. So, I mean, actually it might have, because I skipped over the part where it said to remove the cowl. So maybe it was like right after that, like this whole windshield windshield wiper cowl. So maybe it was literally right there in the instructions. But yeah, yeah, this is very unnecessary. It turned a 30-minute spark plug job into a 5-hour spark plug job. That is insane. So like, if you're replacing anything else, or if you want to replace anything else that's back there, go ahead and buy it now. So that way you can just knock it all out in one go. The next thing I'm going to do to this car is replace the vacuum lines on it, the PCV valve, and got to do transmission fluid drain and fill on it. I will say, if you're going to tackle this, definitely pick up some ratcheting wrenches. Those Suzume ratcheting wrenches with the flex head, they're solid. I've been using them for a while, and I appreciate those guys for sending those out to me. And so far, I don't have any issues with them. If I have any issues, I will update it in one of my videos. But so far, they're pretty solid. Everything that I used in this video, I will link in the description below, so that way you guys can just pick it up and go. But hopefully you guys like this video. If it helped you guys out, awesome. Glad to help you guys out. If you want to support the channel, you can pick up one of these t-shirts. I also have 2 other variants. You can pick up one of these hats. I will have that in the link in the description below to my shop. And like always, I'll catch you guys on the next ride.